Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Gaurav and this is Neat Design. So today we are going to learn how to create this awesome transparent login form using HTML and CSS. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So as usual, I have two files open in my text editor, which is markup.html and styles.css. So let me quickly explain what's going on with our markup. So here I have created a element called form and given a class of container. So in this form element we have this h1 element which says sign into awesomeness, and after that we have three divs which has their own classes. So the first one has a username, next one has a password, and the last one has a keep login class. Okay, and they have their own label and input in it. So the first one has a username and input type of text. The password has an input type of password, and the keep login div has a input type of checkbox. Okay, and after that we have this button with a type of submit and class of sign in button, and then there is a HR element, and lastly we have this link for forgot password page. Okay, so now let's see how it looks in the browser right now. So this is how it looks in the browser. So let's transform this design to this design, okay, using HTML and CSS. So let's start to write our CSS. So let me resize these windows so we can see side by side what we are designing it. So first thing first, let's target our body first, and let's remove the margin, default margin from the body. Let's set background which we have in our folder. So background URL bg-image2.jpg. Let's save it. I think it's bg image 3. Okay, so bg image 3.jpg. so our background image is showing up. So let's change the background size to cover so that image will adjust according to our viewport. Let's set the height to 100 VH. If you see in our design, we have this overlay on top of that image. So for CSS, we are going to use the box shadow trick for it. So let's say box shadow and inset, and let's say 100 VH, 100 VW, and for color let's say 000 and 0.85. Let's save it. Okay, we have got this beautiful overlay on top of our image. So also let's display it as a flex, so we can center our login form. So align items to center and justify content to center as well. So now let's target our container, which is a form element. So let's say form with the class of container, and let's set the width to 320 pixels. And what else we need to set on the container is font family. So we are going to use this beautiful font called Open Sans and sans serif as our fallback font. Okay, and let's see our design here. So as you can see in our design, we have lots of styles same that is applied to many elements. For example, this label has a font size of 12. Also this label has a font size of 12, and also this label has a font size of 12 pixels. Okay, and this has a color of pure white, and our sign in button is also having a color of pure white. So what I'm going to do now is I have this file here called com underscore sel.txt. So let me open that. So here I have written down the selectors which have the common styles in our design. So let me copy these and let's paste it here. Okay, so now let's start to write our common styles. So H1 and sign button has a color of white, same color for both the elements. So let's get rid of that first style, and then for these labels we have a font size of 12 pixels and color of RGBA and 255-255, 255 0.8, and for username label and password label they are we need to display it as a block level element, so our input will start from the next line. Okay, so let's say display block on them, and for input we are going to set the width to 100% and border radius of 4 pixels. Let's check that out in our browser. And also we don't want any default outline from the browser, and let's say border none. So what is outline none is doing here, so let's remove that outline none. And for input we have a height of 32 pixels, so let's say height of 32 pixels. These two are going to have a font size of 16 pixels. Okay, and what else we need to set is, so now let's start with giving them their own individual styles. So for H1 we are going to set the font size to 24 pixels and font weight to normal, and we are going to have a margin bottom of 20 pixels, margin bottom 20 pixels. And for these labels, so username label and password label, so let's say margin bottom of 4 pixels here, font size 16 pixels. So let's set that color to 1D. So let's see what we have got in the browser. Okay, so H1 needs to be what's that property called, it's text align center. Okay, so now let's target that. Let's type here individual selectors. So this username block has a margin bottom of 24 pixels. Username margin bottom of 24 pixels. Let's copy this thing. So the password has a margin bottom of 8 pixels. Now let's style these elements here. Now let's target keep dash login, and we are going to target every element in keep login. So we are selecting both of them and displaying it as a inline block, and we are going to use this unique property called vertical align, and we are going to set it to middle. So I don't know if you have noticed or not, but let me show you. So pay attention to this checkbox. Okay, it's a checkbox. So I comment out this vertical align property. So see, these two elements are not aligned with each other. So that's why we are using this property called vertical align and setting it to middle. And for that property to work, we need to have the same display property. So in this case I have set to inline block. Okay, and now let's target our sign in button, and let's take that beautiful background color from our XD, and let's say PG. Okay, and also it has a height of 40 pixels. So let's set that, and let's see how much margin it has. So it has a margin top of 32 and bottom margin of 24. So let's say top margin of 32, no margin on the sides, and bottom margin of 24 pixels. Okay, let's reset this zoom. Nearly done, but let's see. I think this checkbox has its default margin, so let's remove that. So let's target it using this keep login class, and let's say input, and let's remove all the margin. So except margin right, because we need that, and let's set the height of it to 16 pixels and width of it to 16 pixels as well. Okay, so now we have this link to forgot password page. So let's design that link also. So we have a class of forgot psw on it. So the first thing we have to do is remove that text decoration. So let's say RGBA. Oh, we need to say color first. Okay, so RGBA 255 255 255 and 0.8. Not working up. Okay, what's wrong with that, buddy? Oh, it should be dash, not dot. And let's see what HR has. Margin bottom of 16 pixels. So let's say border none, and height 1 pixels, and background of RGBA 255 255 255 and 0.5, right? Okay, let's see 0.8. Okay, 0.8 looks good to me. And for forgot password, we need to set width of it to, let's see, 100%, and let's say text align to center. Why it's not working out? Maybe we need to say display in like block. Okay, or we can say display block, or and remove this width style. And HR has a margin bottom of 16 pixels, and can you see this thing? If we select it, if we are trying to select this checkbox with our label, how it's selecting this label and how it is looking. So let me set it a property here called user dash select and set it to none, so nobody can select these text now no matter what. And also let's go sign in button. We need to set the font weight to 700 and text transform to uppercase. And also we need to set the cursor to pointer. And let's see, we need to set the font size on these inputs, and also we need to give them some padding. Let's say padding of 4 pixel on top and bottom and 8 pixel on the sides, and let's check that out here. So I'm going to type one of my idols email ID. So stevejobs@apple.com. I think that's all we need for the styles. Also we need to set the focus on these input types. So let's say input and input focus, and we are going to give them a border of 1 pixel solid RGB. So 130, 130, 215 and 0.8 for opacity. So let's check that out in our browser. Let's say box sizing to border box on them. So now their size is not going to change. It's going to adjust according to this border size. apple.com and password is 292920. I think that's it, guys. We have created this awesome transparent login form with HTML and CSS. So that's it, guys. Okay, bye.